Have you ever noticed that some friends cheer you on only when you're struggling, but go silent when you succeed? That's not just friendship, that's competition in disguise. In this video, we'll explore how Stoics, the masters of emotional strength, deal with friends who secretly compete with them. Before we dive in, take a moment to hit the subscribe button and join this community of people who are learning to live with wisdom and strength through Stoic philosophy. That way, you won't miss any of the powerful lessons we share here every day. Now let's begin. Part 1. The nature of competition in friendships. Let's be honest, competition among friends is very common. Sometimes, it's light-hearted. Like two friends teasing each other about who can finish a workout faster. That kind of competition can be healthy, it pushes you both to grow. But sometimes, it's not so healthy. It becomes subtle, hidden, and even toxic. Instead of cheering for you, your friend measures themselves against you. They don't want you to fail outright, but they don't want you to outshine them either. Why does this happen? Because people naturally compare. It's part of human psychology. Social media makes it even worse, everyone posts highlights of their life, and comparison becomes a daily habit. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. They observed that people often make themselves miserable by focusing on what others have instead of focusing on their own progress. So the first Stoic step is this: understand that your friend's competition comes from their own inner struggle, not from you. Part 2. How to recognize a competitive friend. So let's get into something really practical. How do you actually recognize when a friend is secretly competing with you? Because sometimes, it's not obvious. They don't come out and say, "Hey, I'm jealous of you." No, it's usually subtle, hidden in the little things they say or do. But if you pay attention, the signs are always there. Let's break them down one by one. 1. They downplay your wins. Imagine you tell your friend you just got a raise at work. You're excited, you've been working hard, and you expect them to be happy for you. Instead, they say something like, "Oh, that's nice, but raises aren't really that big these days. Inflation eats it up anyway." Or maybe you say you've started going to the gym and lost some weight, and instead of celebrating, they respond, "Well, I've been working out for years." You've still got a long way to go to catch up. Notice what's happening here, they're taking the shine off your joy. Instead of letting you feel proud, they minimize it or turn the spotlight back onto themselves. A true friend shares your joy. A competitive friend can't allow you to feel it fully, because deep down, your win feels like their loss. 2. They disappear when you're doing well. This one can be even more telling. Some friends love being around you when you're struggling. Why? Because it makes them feel needed, or even superior. But the moment you start to rise, when life starts going well, they suddenly become distant. They don't call, they don't show up, they don't even ask how you're doing. It's almost as if your success makes them uncomfortable. Because now, the dynamic has shifted, you're not the struggling one anymore, and they don't know how to handle that. Think about it, have you ever noticed certain friends who were always there when you had problems, but the moment you started thriving, they faded into the background? That's not coincidence. That's quiet competition. 3. They constantly compare. Comparison is one of the biggest red flags. If you buy something new, a car, a phone, even clothes, they immediately feel the need to mention what they have, or what they're planning to get that's better. If you achieve something, they don't let you enjoy it for even a second before reminding you of their own. For example, you tell them you got promoted. Instead of saying, "Congratulations, I'm happy for you," they reply with, "Well, my role is tougher than yours, so it's only natural you'd get promoted faster. I'm just in a different league." See the pattern? Everything becomes a race. And instead of being teammates in life, they start treating you like a rival. Part 3. The Stoic response. So now that you know how to spot a friend who's secretly competing with you, the big question is, how should you respond? Because here's the trap many people fall into: they get angry, confront the friend, or even start competing back. And while that might feel satisfying in the short term, it only pulls you into the same cycle of jealousy, comparison, and rivalry. The Stoics, on the other hand, had a different way. Their response was calmer, wiser, and ultimately more powerful. Let's break it down into 3 Stoic principles you can apply when dealing with hidden rivalry in friendships. 1. Guard your mind. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. What does this mean for friendships? It means that no matter how your friend reacts to your success, whether they minimize it, ignore it, or secretly resent it, you are still in full control of how you interpret and respond to their behavior. Think about it. If a friend doesn't congratulate you, you might instantly feel hurt. But what if you paused and reminded yourself, their reaction doesn't define my achievement. Their envy doesn't reduce my progress. It only reveals where they are in their own journey. By guarding your mind, you stop giving away your peace. You refuse to let their insecurity disturb your inner stability. Here's a practical exercise. Next time you notice a subtle competitive jab from a friend, don't react outwardly. Instead, silently repeat to yourself, "This is outside my control. My peace is mine to keep." This little pause is powerful. It puts you back in the driver's seat of your emotions. 2. Set quiet boundaries. Now, Stoicism doesn't mean tolerating everything blindly. It also teaches practical wisdom, knowing when to step back, when to share less, and when to protect your energy. One way you can do this is by setting quiet boundaries. And by quiet, I mean you don't need to make a big announcement like, "I'm cutting you off," or "I'm not telling you things anymore." That only creates unnecessary drama. Instead, you adjust silently. You choose what you share and what you don't. For example, if you know a friend always turns your good news into a competition, stop feeding them those updates. Share those wins with people who genuinely support you instead. This doesn't mean you have to end the friendship immediately, it just means you control the flow of energy. You limit the parts of yourself that they can use as fuel for comparison. Think of it like guarding a fire. If you know someone is going to throw water on it every time, stop inviting them close to the flames. Protect the warmth of your achievements by being selective with whom you share them. 3. Practice compassion. Here's where Stoicism rises above other approaches. Instead of saying, "That friend is toxic, I can't stand them," the Stoics would remind you, envy is not evil, it's weakness. A person who envies you is not really attacking you. They're wrestling with their own sense of inadequacy. Deep down, they're hurting because your progress makes them feel like they're falling behind. Seneca once said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." This applies here, too. When someone envies you, the real suffering is theirs, not yours. So instead of returning bitterness with bitterness, the Stoic response is compassion. Not pity, not superiority, but a calm understanding. This person is suffering in a way I am not. Their envy belongs to them, not to me. And here's the key: compassion doesn't mean you allow yourself to be mistreated. It means you recognize the root of their behavior without letting it poison your own soul. Now let's bring it together. So when you put these 3 Stoic responses together, guarding your mind, setting quiet boundaries, and practicing compassion, you create a powerful shield. Think of it this way: when a friend competes with you, it doesn't actually diminish your success. Their rivalry doesn't erase your hard work. It only exposes their insecurity. And the moment you see it that way, you gain freedom. You no longer take their words or actions personally. You don't feel the need to prove anything. You simply stay grounded in your own path. Right now, Think of a friend who might secretly compete with you. Ask yourself, am I giving them too much power over my emotions? Can I set quiet boundaries without drama? And can I choose compassion, seeing their envy not as a threat, but as their own inner struggle? That's the Stoic response. Calm. Wise. Unshakable. Part 4. Practical Stoic Strategies. Now, let's get really practical. How do you apply Stoicism in daily life when you're dealing with a competitive friend? 1. Journal your thoughts. Write down how their behavior makes you feel. This helps you separate fact from interpretation. Maybe they're competing, or maybe you're just sensitive. Journaling clears the fog. 2. Don't chase validation. If you rely too much on friends cheering you on, you'll always be vulnerable to their silence or jealousy. Instead, root your joy in your own values. 3. Choose your circle carefully. Stoicism emphasizes surrounding yourself with people who make you better. If someone constantly undermines you, ask yourself, is this friendship strengthening me or weakening me? 4. Respond calmly. If they brag, don't try to outbrag them. If they dismiss your success, don't get defensive. Silence, humility, and calmness are more powerful than confrontation. Part 5. Real-life example. Let me paint you a picture. Lucius gets promoted at work. He's excited and tells his friend Gaius. Gaius responds, well, they probably didn't have better options. Anyway, I'll be leading a bigger project soon. Now, Lucius has two choices. Get angry, confront Gaius, and allow resentment to poison the friendship. Apply Stoicism. He recognizes Gaius' envy as Gaius' problem, not his own. He doesn't share as much with Gaius in the future, but he keeps his peace of mind intact. Which response is stronger? The Stoic one, because Lucius remains master of himself. Part 6. Friendship and Virtue. Seneca once wrote, one of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. This line captures the very essence of what friendship is meant to be. A true friend doesn't view your success as a threat, nor do they secretly hope for your downfall. Instead, they share in your victories as if they were their own, and they stand with you in hardship, not out of obligation, but out of genuine care. The Stoics remind us that friendship, like every other part of life, must be rooted in virtue. And what is virtue? For the Stoics, it is wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. So, when you evaluate a friendship, ask yourself, does this friend encourage me to act wisely, or do they pull me into gossip, comparison, or negativity? Does this relationship make me braver, able to face life with more strength, or does it make me anxious and insecure? Does this friend treat me fairly and wish me well, or do they secretly hope to outshine me? Do I feel free and at peace in their presence, or do I feel I'm walking on eggshells, afraid of triggering jealousy? The Stoic way is not about keeping every single person in your circle. It is about curating your friendships so that they nourish your soul rather than poison it. A true friend doesn't compete with you, they grow with you. They see your growth as part of their own, because the bond of virtue means you are not two separate rivals, but companions walking the same path toward wisdom and a better life. If a friendship is built on envy, competition, or hidden resentment, it is already fragile, it cannot last because it does not serve virtue. But if it is built on honesty, trust, and mutual understanding, then it becomes a source of strength, even in the hardest of times. So, the Stoic perspective is simple: if a friendship aligns with virtue, invest in it deeply. If it doesn't, let it fade without bitterness. Because real friendship is never about keeping score, it's about building character, together. Part 7. When to distance yourself. Sometimes the most Stoic response isn't confrontation, it's quiet distance. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with a calm understanding that not every friendship is meant to continue at the same level. So, when is distance necessary? When envy becomes sabotage. It's one thing if a friend feels a little competitive, that's human. But when they start actively working against you, spreading negativity, or trying to make your wins feel smaller, that's no longer friendship. That's sabotage, and it's your cue to step back. When competition constantly drains your energy, pay attention to how you feel after spending time with them. Do you feel motivated and supported, or do you leave drained, second-guessing yourself? True friendship should strengthen you, not exhaust you. When the relationship no longer uplifts you. Friendships are supposed to help us grow, to remind us of our worth, and to make the journey of life lighter. If all you feel is heaviness, criticism, or tension, then distance is not just wise, it's necessary. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly: the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In other words, you don't need to lower yourself by fighting, arguing, or proving your worth. The Stoic way is to quietly step away, keeping your dignity intact. Think of distance as a form of self-respect. You're not punishing them, you're protecting your peace. You're choosing your mental and emotional well-being over constant conflict. And that choice doesn't require anger, only clarity. Part 8. Turning competition into growth. But here's another option. Sometimes competition can be transformed. If your friend isn't malicious, but just insecure, you can set the tone by showing generosity. Celebrate their wins. Encourage them. Show them what true friendship looks like. Sometimes, by refusing to join the rivalry, you actually inspire them to rise above envy. That's the higher path, and very much a Stoic one. Part 10. Conclusion and reflection. So let's bring it all together. Friends who secretly compete with you are a reality of life. But you have a choice: you can react with hurt and anger, or you can respond with Stoic wisdom. The Stoic way is clear. Recognize envy for what it is. Guard your peace of mind. Set boundaries or distance yourself if necessary. And always root your friendships in virtue, not vanity. Ask yourself now: who in your circle truly supports you? Who secretly competes with you? And how can you rise above it with calm, strength, and wisdom? Because at the end of the day, you cannot control who envies you, but you can control whether you lose your peace over it. And that, my friends, is the Stoic way.